Welcome. This is Ed Logan, and I want to welcome you to Wiser with Your Health. As you can see, I'm in a location now in which I'm able to do a little bit more than what I was doing. I just really felt like that I wasn't able to give my best standing up in front of a camera. I felt like it just wasn't me. So I found a way that is me. Now, if many of you have been joining us with my wife, Yvonne Logan, we have been doing Wiser with Time. And so we've also been doing a podcast called Wiser with Time. And you can tell that I like that word wiser. And that word wiser is very important to me because it means that I have grown, or it means that a person who is becoming wise, it means that they have grown. And so I just felt like that was very important to try to get across. Is we are at a place in which we are childish in our thinking and what we have done, and then we grow and we learn from our mistakes, and then we become wiser as the time goes. Now, why is that important to what I'm talking about now? It's important because with our food, we should be becoming wiser. And when we become wiser with our food, we become wiser with your health. So if you'll hang around and stay with me, we're going to talk about some pretty good things. I'm going to give you a little bit more information about the show and then how it's going to go from there. So please hang with me and we will be right back. All right, welcome back to Wiser with Your Health. Now, as I was saying, I'm in a new location. This location, I can pretty much say what I want. I can pretty much do it any way that I'd like to do it. And so I needed this for me to be able to grow. I thank you all for my subscribers. I know the number is small right now, but hopefully we're going to grow this into something big. We have a lot of things to talk about. We have lots of topics to talk about. We're going to talk about food. We're going to talk about the fast food industry. We're going to talk about our food being altered. So we're going to get information. We're going to try to set up interviews. We're going to try to have information that's going to help us understand why we are in the condition that we are in with our health. And then we're going to talk about those things as well that is going to help us to be able to grow with our health. All right. So like I said earlier, I really wasn't quite feeling the setup. I had a camera that was sitting up, was on a stand, and I had the lights, and it just, it feels like that's what everybody else was doing. And it just was not working for me. And it was probably boring. The content may have been good, but probably was a little bit boring. And that's normally not me. For many of those who know me, they know that is not my character. But I felt like I had to do it a certain way. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be me. And what comes out of my mouth, I always try to make sure that's righteous. But what comes out of my mouth, I'm going to say what actually needs to be said. I wanted to make this more personable. I wanted you to be able to get in contact with me. I wanted you to be able to talk to me. I wanted you to see that I was a real person. You can communicate with me by emailing me, and I'll get all that information for you. But I just wanted to make sure that I could be who I needed to be and give you value on your journey and on your walk to getting your health to where it needs to get. There's a lot of wicked and evil things that are being done to our food. The pharmaceutical industry, it's a wicked thing. So you have the food that's horrible. We get unhealthy, and then we go to the hospital, and then they give us pharmaceuticals, and then we continue to eat the food, and nobody's getting to the bullseye in the middle and telling us why we are sick. They're treating all of our symptoms, but we are not understanding why we are sick. And we need to become wiser with our health. So I'm going to do what I do best. And I'm going to talk about things that have happened in my life. And I'm also going to talk about and I'm going to show things that actually caused me to be the way that I am, which I know probably caused you to be the way that you are. And I'm going to use scriptures, and I'm going to use, I am biblically based. So I'm sorry if that offends you, but there is wisdom in scripture. As a matter of fact, that is actually where you get your wisdom from, is in the scripture. So we're going to talk about issues that affect us. All right. So please leave a comment below. Let me know what issues affect you. And we can talk about those issues. We can dialogue about those issues. You know, when I was a police officer, let me tell you about me when I was a police officer. I rode around in a police car. I ate donuts, cream-filled donuts. I ate Chinese food. I ate whatever. You know, we got a lot of free food as a police officer. I mean, I ate a lot of stuff. And you can imagine driving around in that car for hours at a time. You know, police work was somewhat spontaneous. Most times you were sitting, driving, and then you'll have an incident that pops up just like that. And guess what? You're on the run. And that may last for a couple of minutes. And then 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, you're back into that car and you're sitting. Now, I wasn't responsible. I didn't go home and exercise. I did not watch what I ate. And that was to my demise. So now, through all of that, it has brought me to a point now where, hey, I'm 50 years old now. My body can't take what it used to take. So I've had to start applying wisdom to my mind to get me to say, hey, your body can't keep doing this. And as a matter of fact, even when you do try to eat right, why are you having such a hard time? Why can't you keep it up? So we're going to talk about why it is so hard for some of us to lose our weight. Why is it so hard for some of us to drop those pounds, to eat the correct thing? Why is it so expensive to buy foods that are good for you? So those are going to be things that we are going to be talking about. And so when I left police work, I went into trucking, and oh my gosh, trucking is worse. When you're driving a tractor trailer down a highway, there's only a certain amount of places that you can take that truck. So the places that you are limited to are truck stops and maybe Walmarts. So that's where I would stay at night. I would stay at a truck stop, which had limited amount of food. It had fast food. Now, I will say that some of the truck stops have now implemented salads and things like that. But they all had the fast food restaurants. They all had the donuts. They all had the candy bars. It was just a store with a fast food restaurant. And so you imagine somebody controlling a tractor trailer going down the highway, eating unhealthy food. I have seen men get out of the truck who could barely walk to the back of their truck to open the doors. Now, I'm not downing them at all, and I'm not talking bad about them. Excuse me. I'm just telling you what I have seen. And I'm telling you the types of bodies that are driving down that highway beside you when you're driving. As a police officer, I saw people having heart attacks. I saw tractor trailers running off the road because people had heart attacks. And it's a very scary thing. So when you think about your health and you think about what trucking does, hey, that's what it does to us. Excuse me, getting a little choked up. But anyway, I like this setup. It allows me to be me. This is me. I want to read a scripture to you, and it's out of the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus. And listen very closely to what this is going to be saying, or actually what it is saying. And I hope that it affects you. I hope that it pricks your heart just like my heart was pricked when I read it. So here we go. Ecclesiasticus. We're going to read chapter 37, and we're going to start off at the 27th verse. So let me say this. If you go and look up the book Ecclesiasticus or the book of Sirach, it actually was in the 1611 King James Bible. All right. So it was considered to be in the scripture. However, men took them out. And because they took them out, most people don't even, these are scriptures about wisdom. So listen to the wise saying that I'm getting ready to give you right now. Okay. It says, my child, as you go through life, keep your appetite under control and don't eat anything that you know is bad for you. All food doesn't agree with everyone, and everyone doesn't like the same kinds of food. Don't feel that you have to have all sorts of fancy food, and don't be a glutton over any food. If you eat too much, you'll be sick. If you do it all the time, you'll always have stomach trouble. Gluttony has been the death of many people. Avoid it and live longer. You know, I thought that was very worth reading. There is so much wisdom and so much knowledge to be gained. Come on, y'all. Y'all know how it is. You eat that big meal before you go to bed. You eat that big bowl of spaghetti before you go to bed. It wasn't earlier in the day when you ate it. It was about 6, 7 o'clock at night, and you're going to go to bed at about 9 or 10 o'clock. So your belly's full. You've got all this acidic stuff, this tomato sitting in your stomach. And when you go to bed and lay down, guess what happens? Heartburn. Antacids is what you're going to be taking. And, you know, we've all done it. And it was a miserable sleep, was it not? And there's other verses that talks about how miserable the sleep is after we eat like that. So we're going to start breaking down some of these things and start using a little wisdom with our eating habits. We're going to talk about exercising. We're going to talk about, look, I have been eating properly for about 9 weeks now. And I know that that's not long. Hey, when you look at it, that's about 2.5 months. Who am I to talk and try to help somebody change? Well, I feel like I can do that now because I've got the scripture to back up. And I've got scriptures that tells me that if I put my hand towards that evil stuff or that food that is not good for me, I'm going to get what I deserve. And we know that when you eat like that improperly, it just said that, what did it say? Gluttony has been the death of many people. Avoid it and live longer. So we know that gluttony has caused that death of many people. And we know, be honest with me, when you're watching me right now, when I'm talking to you, you know that if you continue to keep eating the way that you're eating, you know that you're not going to have a long life. You know your children are not going to grow up and have their mother or their father around because we could not control our eating. You see, I'm not pointing the finger at you. I got 3 more pointed right back at me. I have children at home myself, and I know that if I don't conquer this, that I know that death is going to conquer me because of my eating, and I refuse to let that happen. So welcome to Wiser with Your Health. I believe that you're going to enjoy this show. I'm going to do some other videos just about food, things that can kind of direct us into the right direction. So I hope you enjoyed this. Hey, we're just getting started. Please continue to join me. I'll be putting videos out every week. Please subscribe, click the bell, and leave a comment. Let me know what's going on with you. Matter of fact, let me know what job industry you're involved in. If you're a trucker, hey, leave me a message and let me know that you're a trucker and tell me about your eating habits, how it goes. And I know there are a lot of truckers out there now who they're preparing their own meals, taking their meals with them. Hey, let's talk about it. I'm excited. I don't know about you all. I'm excited to get into this. I'm excited to bust out those fast food corporations who provide that food for us that does not keep us healthy, but get us sick. I'm excited to bust out those food corporations who produce food that is not food for us and they sell it to us. I'm excited to talk about the exorbitant amount of price that it costs to eat well and how cheap it is to eat junk. So stick with me, join me for my next videos, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.